my darlings, welcome back to another edition of the Social Buzz. Today you can see I'm not alone. I have brought a medical practitioner to teach us because it's not only you, he's teaching me. So I'll just sit down, be quiet, and let him take the floor. If you're guessing what my topic is, mental health in the digital age. So yes, that's what my topic is about. Let my guest introduce himself and we'll go for it.
My name is Dr. Orafu Emmanuel.
I was waiting for you not to add the Emmanuel to it. Let me ask you, I'm seeing E for your shirt. Alright. In this digital age that we're in, should I say this Gen Z age, this current 21st century that we're in, there are a lot of technologies, social media platforms, higher upgraded phones compared to what it used to be in the past. And while they have come with their positive aspects, while we say, okay, yes, we can communicate, reach out faster, then you had to send a message through post office and all of that and all the responses. While we know that it has its benefits, there are also great disadvantages of this whole social media, phones, technologies that are what we have now. I mean, most of the time you see children spending their time on phones, on their gadgets. You're in a room with people, you're not communicating. What are you doing? You're online. Like I said, there are lots of disadvantages that come with this. We have cyberbullying. We have the child ends up being antisocial. We have too many things which my doctor here has under the what's the English? Yeah, she puts it under the bracket of depression, which I think that's where I'm going to. Mental health nowadays equals to depression. When we say, oh, how's your mental health doing? Are you sad? Are you downcast? Is something troubling you? At the end of the day, it all boils down to being depressed. Now, I feel my very first question for you, sir, is in this digital age, and we have people battling with cyberbullying, being antisocial, like we've said, the depression aspect. Before I start asking you what your advice is, I would like you to talk on it. Depression, how, because people will argue that, social media doesn't bring about depression. People would argue that, social media doesn't make you antisocial. I mean, I have this amount of followers, all those yaps that they are yapping. But then, if we are being very sincere about it, your followers are not real life people. You don't have one-on-one conversations with them. You don't have, at this point, nowadays, we have all these trust issues that people are experiencing. Oh, I cannot tell this person my issue because you don't know whether it's going to end up on social media tomorrow. And they start dragging you, and then cyberbullying comes in. I would like to know your take on depression and how it can be affected by social media.
Thank you very much. I'll start by stating the fundamental problem. Being parent of our generation, that's our own parents, were not equipped or ready for this social media technology phase. So there were a lot of problems with managing your kids, training them, trying to advise them, trying to talk to them, and even our generation coming into something new went crazy about it, and we are still going crazy about it. So you get to see a lot of excesses on social media, and obviously, in as well as it has a lot of pros, it also has its adverse effects. And by so doing, you get to see a young child probably depressed as a result of like comparison. The world is now like is a global village where from here you know what's going on in Australia, as far as Australia, you know what's going on in Canada. So like a lot of people create certain unrealistic yardstick for determining their success, their progress in life, and it leads to mental health problems. And the fact that mental health problems are not necessarily spoken about, the awareness is very minimal. So a lot of people suffer in silence, and only when it's noticed is when we are at the end point, probably suicide, probably full-on depression and all of those stuff. So I think we are new to social media. Our parents were new to social media. So actually training the young child on how to navigate through social media was not necessarily
A
um,
priority.
a priority for them. So you get to see a lot of back and forth with trying to understand your, like you see a child gets on social media as an entirely different persona. Like basically that I think yeah, I think that that's majorly the foundational problem. So because of the average person feeding him or herself with so many things at the same time, it tends to lead to either a mental breakdown, depression, or
Well,
worst case scenario, suicide.
you said something about how we're not people in this. Well, should I say in this part of the world, we're not even aware of people don't take mental health issues seriously compared to other sides of the world. And like you said, our parents were not equipped, or they were not prepared for social media. I don't know. I think maybe because they're not prepared for social media, they were not prepared for the mental health things. Because sometimes now we have children who speak to their parents about, oh, I'm depressed, I'm sad, or parents even ask how is your mental health because they're like, what do you mean mental health? What are you thinking of? Who are you feeding? Who are you taking care of? Forgetting the fact that things have changed. Now it might not be who you're feeding because in their time it's based on, oh, there's no work, you have family to take care of, your immediate family, extended family. So now they are forgetting that things have changed, and social media has come in place. And then this is what, like you said, self-esteem. You're comparing yourself with another person that has nothing to do. Which person is living his or her own life out there. You're comparing yourself and feeling inadequate. Things like this breed about depression. Now, these children have no other person to talk to about it, because if you can't even speak to your own immediate family and you go ahead outside to speak to friends, let's say you do have genuine friends, they don't know much. That is one. Secondly, even if you speak to people, okay, let's say you speak to genuine friends, they don't know much what they want to advise you, how do they want to advise you. Maybe should I say family, okay, you speak to the wrong people and those ones decide to take it out there, spreading your gist basically, and it becomes worse for you because I trusted this person, and it just goes like that. But you cannot talk to your family members about, oh, I feel like this because of this and all of that, and then they come from a place of love because they don't properly. Do you get what I'm trying to say? They don't understand why you should be feeling like this, comparing your, and they don't know how to address it. Like I would always say, we're all living life for the first time. They don't have any guide to parenting. They're figuring it out. So I think my question now is for the young people that do not know their bearings yet, because now in this day and time, like the way technology has progressed so fast, then before your daddy will give you a phone, you must have gotten to a certain class and maybe you have done so well, they can see that you are mature enough. Even as at then, they are still checking what you're watching. But now children are smarter. Even if you want to link their phones or their tablets to your phone, there's a way they will put, I mean, it's Google, there's ChatGPT, you ask it anything you want to. You ask it anything you want to ask it. My question to you now is, how do we help these parents and help these children to, should I say, not battle depression in this digital age? Because the digital age has come to stay and it's only going to progress further. How do we make the parents aware of mental health being a thing, and how do we also help them to, I don't want to say bond with their children, because I feel like that should be a normal thing for them to bond with their kids. But how do we help them help their kids? Because that comparison thing is going to be there. We're not even going to look at cyberbullying yet, but the constant comparison, you're seeing things online, you're feeling inadequate, or you're seeing people that are maybe finer than you and all of that, and you're body shaming yourself and what. I'm not even talking about smaller children now, maybe teenagers. So they don't even end up making the wrong decisions. So yes, how do we advise them to watch their mental health, what they take in, and how do we also advise the parents to how do we make the parents aware of things like that?
So for the idea of mental health is not necessarily spoken about a lot. I think the way We were taught health education,
Mm-hmm.
social studies in secondary school, primary school. I think mental health should be part of the curriculum because it's becoming a pandemic in our society today. Aside the fact that people use that term depressions,
Mm-hmm.
um, it's a necessity. It has become a necessity to actually address mental health issues in our current day society, and starting from the grassroots being our educational system. These children understanding and knowing that it's okay to talk about their problems, knowing when they have a problem, knowing who to talk about it. Seminars for adults and parents, those that have marriage classes and all those stuff. Being made aware of the fact that mental health of your child is a thing, mental health of your partner is a thing. So now, if there is a very conducive environment for a child, a partner to be vulnerable, I think we'll be able to tackle mental health issues like squarely. So now, from childhood, the child is being trained to be vulnerable with parents. So when they see something different that they don't understand, something that doesn't make any sense to them,
You start to
instead
question
of
it.
questioning their mates that might direct them wrongly, they will talk to somebody higher that will not just scold them but explain to them the
Yeah.
nitty-gritty of, okay, this is what it is. This everything you see on social media is not black and white. This is what you should understand from this. This is where you're from. This is what is obtainable here. And I think the idea of mental health issue, at least in children, would be reduced. And for adults, I think if the average person should understand that your clock is different from mine. You might become a millionaire or a billionaire at 18. It might take me a while to get there, but consistency and repetition, consistency, determination will get you to your goal so long as you're focused. So regardless of the time frame, I don't think because okay maybe there's this get rich scheme going on, that's
Mm.
the Yahoo or internet fraud that makes the average person wants to buy a GLE at 18. In our society today, in Africa, considering the way our educational system has been patterned, it's almost impossible. Except due to let's say you probably stumble on wealth, or you are innovative at that young age to achieve certain feats. So now that is obtainable only by that. But now by the time, let's say you go to secondary school, you go to the university, you graduate at 18, you're just a student, you just graduated. So like how are you buying a GLE at that point? So like setting unreasonable standards for yourself based off of what you see on social media should not be a thing. Like people should understand that not everything you see on social media is black and white. You don't know the source of people's wealth. It shouldn't be a cause for alarm for you. Yeah, do your homework, try to be the best version of yourself, but don't beat yourself up about another person's achievement. It should be a motivation,
For you to do better.
yeah, and not necessarily like a means for competition. So
Okay, well, like I stated, we have cyberbullying as a negative aspect, where somebody that posts something and you see the comment section, go and die or lose weight, you fat, they throw one insulting word beside it. And then maybe this person already feels shitty about him or herself, and you're having thoughts of not being enough. Now it's not being enough in terms of achievements. It's not being enough as a person. Maybe you feel like yes, you're too fat, but then I know there are people that have these eating disorders. You're adding, but then you can't just stop eating. It's like it's a medical thing, yeah. Okay, you're adding weight, you can't stop eating, and then people are coming for you in your comment section. Not only big people. I mean, it could be even people that are slim. You're constantly hearing, like, your bones will just snap like this, things like that. But you're eating and you can't even add weight, or you don't even have appetite. When people like this are dealing with things like that, sometimes some of them even think of some of them have suicidal thoughts, whereby So in general, I'm not even talking about people with eating disabilities. I'm talking about people that have been cyberbullied by one thing or the other. Maybe, oh, you can't get pregnant, or you can't get your wife pregnant, things like that. And they have all these thoughts. Are there I know I normally see numbers of, oh, if you're going through this, call that. But then I haven't ever called this number. So I can't really say, do they work? And if they do work, I'm asking you because you're in this sector. But if they do work, what are the things that, because we still have a lot of these cases on a frequent basis. So what are the things that you feel those agencies can do to reduce the amount of cases like this that we have? I mean, if they are working and they are doing proper, appropriate things, so people might not be bold enough to call. So what would you even advise these people to do? How would you advise these people? And then the agencies, what are the things they can do to help, cases like this be minimized?
Like I said earlier, it's a grassroots problem, and before the agencies, like, it has to be tackled from the grassroots. The mentality of the average man has to change. So now, if from primary school the child is being taught that mental health is a thing,
Okay,
there are
now,
certain things that you do that would affect the mental health of the other person. So now that child is conscious of, okay, I don't want to be hurt. I don't want this to be done to me, because this is the effect of me doing this. Now, most people are not aware of whatever they threw online and how it affects the other person. But now, if you're brought to understanding and knowing that, okay, this is the effect of this, and now also parents also teaching their kids, let's say we as young adults and potential parents, doing better with parenting, trying to educate the young child not to be toxic. You don't have to talk down on the next person. You don't have to just come on social media and blot out whatever it is that comes to your head. Like, learn how to manage your emotions. If you're pissed at a certain content online, either you block or unfollow the person. You don't necessarily have to post a negative comment. You don't have to. And as regards body shaming, cyberbullying, if that fundamental problem is solved, it reduces it to the barest minimum. Now, obviously, there are still going to be those vices, but then these agencies now come to help by, okay, providing the right support, because people going through mental health problems or mental health disorders, like, they are supposed to feel loved and accepted for them to now be vulnerable to talk about their problems. So now, if you create an environment that avoids stigma, an environment that's conducive enough for them to talk, because I think, aside being a medical diagnosis, like, depression has a medical solution, and before that there's a social solution, a psychological solution, where people have to talk about their problems. You have to talk about this. It doesn't make you a weakling or make you a mental patient. It makes you are able, for you to talk about it, you're stronger. So the moment you understand that, and the stigma is taken out of, okay, this person is going through depression, or this person is probably um,
So I know how you mentioned we should go to the grassroots. That can begin, going to the grassroots from schools. But the people that already exist with these mental health issues, I think those were who I was even referring to. The people that already exist. How should I say? What are the advices that we can give to them? Because I mean, you already have it in your head that, oh, you cannot talk about your mental health as men now. You cannot come out and speak out. All of that. You cannot. If you talk about it, it makes you seem weak. Who are you going to talk to that you're going to trust? How do you get better? I know that sometimes it is a personal thing. You have to decide for yourself that, okay, you want to get better, and you go out and seek the help that you necessarily need to seek. But then what happens whereby you don't even know that you're okay? I feel like the question I'm asking you now is, how does somebody know that the person is not mentally okay? I don't think a lot of people want to accept that, but then they're dealing with a lot of mental baggage and mental stress. But then they don't even know how to separate from the fact that, oh, this is not even a normal. It's not a normal thing. I shouldn't be going through this. I need to decompose the rubbish in my head at this point. So I don't know. Are there signs for you to tell that, oh, you're mentally stressed? I don't know if you should be speaking from a personal angle now or a.
So I would start by saying that I will start by the most rampant or frequent mental health issue we have, like in our society today, which is depression. Like it's actually a medical condition. Like there are signs and symptoms. There's a pathophysiology to that. Like there's an effect of the effect of depression goes. Let's say, for example, depression. Now there are certain hormones being released when you're depressed, especially cortisol. Called the stress hormone. Now the cortisol has an effect on the brain. And I would talk about the two major effects. It has two major parts of the brain where it affects. One is the amygdala, and the other is the hippocampus. And for the amygdala, the major function of the amygdala, it controls your emotion. Now, if there is hyper secretion of that cortisol, it causes hypertrophy of amygdala. Now, you have, you might have maniac highs and very low um, emotions where you feel like you're shit, you feel like you don't want to live here anymore, and there are times where you're like extremely or overly excited. So you have those highs and those lows. That's the effect of cortisol, excess secretion of cortisol on the amygdala, which is a part of your brain that controls your emotions. Now, the second part is the hippocampus. That this part majorly takes care of memory. So now, for somebody that has a depressive disorder, at some point they start having memory losses. They have problems with recollection and a lot of other stuff. This is a result of cortisol effect on the hippocampus. It causes atrophy. But basically, in a nutshell, explaining to the average person that depression affects your brain. So when you feel out, let's say you start losing interest in the things you used to be interested in before, you start sleeping too much because you also would cause sleep disorder, you start having memory losses, you feel less of yourself frequently, then you should seek for a solution. You should want to learn to talk to people about your solution, not necessarily friends that might turn it into gist and all of that. Yeah, you could talk to a health professional because it's an actual same way you go to hospital to treat malaria, the same way you should go to the hospital to treat a depressive disorder. But now most people that are depressed don't even know they are depressed. So it's also advisable for people to look out for those signs in others. Let's say your friend all of a sudden starts becoming withdrawn, show all these signs. It's something you can call their attention to, and they seek a solution. You have to talk about it before you now come to the medical part where you now give antidepressants and all this stuff. So it's mental health issue is, if we start talking about mental health issues, like it can go on and on and on. But I think awareness has to be drawn to that. We need to make social media posts about it, do seminars about it, talk to children about it, and also protect ourselves from these.
Yeah, speaking of protecting, brings me to my next point: digital detox. How to detox yourself. I know people put down their phones and say, you know what, for the next 2 hours. Some people even have days whereby they go on the social media fast. I'm not going to open social media today. Like let's say let heaven want to fall down. So these are ways whereby we can, like you said, awareness and preventing the amount of information you take in, because it's whatever you feed your mind that's going to, should I say, work in you. Because if If you're constantly putting it in your head, oh, look at this person, I'm not good enough, or I'm not here, or I'm not this, or this economy is bad, these things are bad, it becomes your reality. So digital detox for me is take time off social media, be mindful about it. Oh, I've been on my phone, and then I know nowadays we have people that work from home, you're working remotely, you're a social media manager, you're constantly on your phone. You can also be mindful of what you're doing for work and what you're doing for your own personal time. So if you already see the signs that okay, some certain things are not adding up, the moment you start to, or you have a friend who you're noticing these signs in, like you said, advise the person, take that time off social media, schedule breaks for the next 2 hours. I'm not going to go on social media. I should probably read a book, watch a movie, do something aside. Because now you see people inside rooms and then it's your phone that you're pressing. That's all you do. I'm guilty of that. When you enter a room with people, you're too many people are sitting down, you're not talking to yourselves, you're pressing your phones. Let's learn to drop these gadgets and relate with other people. Be, like I said, be mindful of the usage. You can decide, oh, for the entire weekend, oh, I'm going to go out, I'm going to just be in my space and enjoy my time, and not let social media determine what it is that I'm doing. And I think when you start to control this thing for yourself, it helps. That means you're already knowing the type of content you take in. Then again, people always say is what you go and search for. By the time you search something on Google or YouTube, you start to see it on other platforms. It's what you search for that the algorithm brings to you. You constantly see on your For You page. So what are you searching for? If you're constantly searching for things that, before you know it, other things like that will affect you mentally are popping up. Random things, like it could be anything basically. These things will affect you. So be mindful of what you're out there looking at. And then when you see things that you do not want to see, you said something about blocking, or don't, when you see something that you don't want to see, you leave that place. Abby, you see somebody you don't want to talk to, you walk out of that kind of situation. So don't go ahead and read and further going back to read the comment section and entering the person's profile, just to, you're basically doing causing harm to your own self. Do you have anything to add, sir, as an advice, for them to detox?
So basically, in addition to what you said, I think we all should develop hobbies, hobbies outside of our screens, like play football, read a book, do something outside of your screen.
Hang out with friends and family.
Exactly.
Eat food.
So doing that, yeah, it creates a distraction from the whole social media, a kind of, and also having a routine. Like I figured over time that having a routine kind of puts you in the right frame of mind. Look for an escape. For me, it might be music. For you, it might be something else. So, and also learn to talk to somebody when you're going through stuff. As a man, the whole idea of toxic masculinity is flawed. If you're feeling a certain kind of way, you're feeling overwhelmed, talk to somebody. It's okay to cry. It's okay to feel down. It's okay to feel less of a man. As a woman too, learn to talk about. You don't have to always conceal everything that comes your way. If you're going through an abusive relationship, be it online, be it in person, talk about it. Be very protective and jealously guide your mental health, because
Very,
as
very
well as
important.
the way you do your skincare is the way you should also take care of your mental health. Like you should be careful about what you consume online. You should be careful about what you let people say to you. You should be careful of the circle you keep. By so doing all this stuff, if you jealously guide your mental health, you might necessarily bump into a few hiccups here and there, but so long as you're putting that effort, and the average um, parent is teaching his or her child to be emotionally intelligent, um, careful about what they blot out, use social media rightly, I think it would come down to the barest minimum. The whole idea of suicide, wanting to run away, and all those stuff will reduce. And great Set realistic goals for yourself. Do look for a hobby. Look for Be focused. Have mentors and find a hobby. So yeah,
Thank
I
you,
think
sir.
that should help.
In conclusion.
Summary.
Okay.
Action.
So to summarize everything up, digital technology has come to stay and it has come with a lot of positive benefits, connection, being aware, and all of that. But it has also come with its negative aspects. Cyberbullying, um, people hardly even sleep at night because you're constantly scrolling on your screens, comparing yourself, lack of self-purpose and self-awareness and all of that. This is where the balance has to come in. We have to create a balance so that we're not just drifting far off. You can't be in a gathering with people and you cannot relate with the next person beside you because you are texting on your phone. Imagine people in a space and then you're texting the next person that's there. What happened to your mouth? It shouldn't be like that. So this balance is very necessary. Give yourself time, find a hobby, like he said, find a hobby, do something outside of social media for yourself, for your own mental space. Sometimes people just want to spend a Friday night relaxing. They probably see a movie, read a book, and just rest outside of social media. The world doesn't have to know because this person is posting, oh, I'm outside on a Friday night. You don't have to go and be posting, oh, this is what I'm doing on a Friday night. It is very, very pointless. Do things for yourself too. The same way we're always spending so much money, like I said, very valid point. When you spend so much money on your skincare, spend so much time for your mental state. And then let us make this an awareness. Mental health should be spoken about more often in schools. It's never even too late because we have new generation of people, of children coming up. Let's make these children aware in schools, seminars, whatever the case may be. And that brings us to the end of this. I hope that you have been able to take something valuable from this session, and I cannot wait to see you on the next one. Let's say bye to Dr. Orafu, and we're grateful for you gracing us with your presence and all the knowledge, all the grammar that he was speaking. All
Thank
right,
you very
guys,
much.
bye.
Bye.
I'm your host, Amarachi.